Tracy.
I'm Rahana Power.
And today we have Jesse Bishop. Yeah, hi.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Jesse, we are excited to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to be here.
And today we're talking about the Minneapolis St. Paul International Film Festival, or Mspiff. And it's 42 this year, right?
Yeah, we're turning the ripe old age of 42.
So the festival is a millennial, right? Is that correct? Or
yeah, Gen X millennial, right there.
Gen X millennial, yeah.
Exactly. So we can all relate, and that's what matters.
Yeah, we can all relate.
So Jesse, we want to kind of just dive right in. There's so much to talk about when it comes to the festival. Can you just start by telling us, like, what's your role with Mspiff, and how did you get involved to begin with?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm the programming director for the festival, as well as the Film Society of Minneapolis St. Paul, which is like the parent organization of the festival. And we run the main cinema year round as well, which is kind of a new venture for us. We've been open a year there. But so I'm part of the team that selects the movies for the film festival. There's about 8-9 of us that scour film festivals around the world. We're fortunate to be back going to those festivals in person, thankfully. We make connections over the years with filmmakers, and then we just watch all these films that are in consideration for the festival each year. And the team and I get together and sort of decide what we'll be bringing to Minneapolis and St. Paul each year.
Great.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's nice to have a lot of different voices involved in the programming. Just to people have different perspectives, of course, and have different areas of expertise, and can really kind of bring a different flavor.
What festivals do you guys scout, should I say, or whatever?
Yeah. Let's see. We travel to the Toronto International Film Festival is a big one in the fall. That sort of kicks off, well, it's hard to say when the cycle starts, but that's one of the fall festivals.
Arguably Telluride. Yep.
Yeah, Telluride. And then Venice is that same weekend. Sometimes we have representation there, but we haven't in the past couple of years. And then Sundance, of course, in the winter. Sometimes our programmers travel out to Busan International Film Festival. And then we touch on as many regional festivals as we can too, just to see what's going on. There's a lot of, the regional festivals, which, we're part of that sort of circuit, we like to say, like, kind of the best of the best, because it's like the highlights of all these sort of major festivals. And the major, like, top tier festivals are great. They're amazing places to see exciting new work. But sometimes it's work that you may not, they're taking chances on a lot of different things that may not be the audience favorites, let's say. And so we get to take the time and decide what we think, will resonate with our audiences in Minnesota.
How does that go? Like, how do you guys actually make those decisions? Like, these are the films that we want to make sure. I feel like that would get to a point where it just seems impossible, because there's so many out there that I'm sure, like, man, this is really good, but I don't know. Like, how do you do that?
It's a fun process, and it is actually a process. I'm kind of an indecisive person, like, personally. Back when video stores were a thing, I'm the guy that would be in there for an hour at a time or more. Yep. Just like, and when we have the queues on our platforms now, I'm just like looking at everything.
Yeah.
I need to have taken all these considerations. But so we put into process these considerations. And they're sort of the obvious things, like, we have various criteria for quality. And then there's, like, subject matter, representation, balances there, balances between, we don't want to have too many films that are super heavy on a certain niche topic. So we're taking all of these things into consideration, laying them all out on the table. And then we slowly, over the course of a few months, just decide which ones we're feeling so strongly about that we want to pursue and bring in. And then, of course, folks that we've worked with in the past, it's just great to maintain those relationships. And, the filmmakers and the artists are everything. They make the work, and we wouldn't be here without them. And so it's exciting to follow their journey. And then we're very proud of being whatever small part of that we can be to reach an audience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So can you kind of tell us, like, what really drove you to even get into, film in general, the festival?
Sure.
How did you just wake up one day and you went, film is fun? Or like, was there some passion?
He was
I was born on this planet.
There you go.
He was standing in Blockbuster for an hour, and then, it came to him,
Honestly, I did work at Hollywood Video. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I did like a stint there at one point in my earlier years. No, I've always been a fan of the movies. Dabbled a little bit with friends in filmmaking. I was an English major in college, so I've always been a fan of storytelling and writing in particular. And it was that experience during college. Actually, I was a student at the University of Minnesota, and the organization that the Film Society ran a single screen art house movie theater called the Oak Street Cinema. And I started, selling tickets and that kind of fun stuff. And then I was asked to come up and run the reels in the booth back when it was 35 millimeter. And so I learned that aspect. And then each year when the festival would roll around, the founder of the organization, Al Milgram, was always, he always had like stacks of these books and DVDs and VHS tapes back then of movies that he was considering for the festival. And so I just kind of helped him out. He needed some assistance. He needed some organization and
cataloging.
And I learned a lot from him, from his interactions with filmmakers. And he had an encyclopedic knowledge of cinema, the history of cinema. So I kind of got a crash course education through that experience and have stuck with it. Cause I then learned and observed, like, going to the movies as a kid with my family, with my friends, that was always very impactful. And I primarily saw sort of the Hollywood side of things, although I tried to branch out and see indie stuff as much as possible and international. But it wasn't until I worked for the organization that I saw the impact it had on the audiences and our efforts that the team goes to like reach audiences. There's so many international populations among us, and folks see themselves in the films, and it's a way for them to retouch their culture if they've been away from it for a long time, and for other people to experience other cultures. It's just a great sort of melting pot.
Yeah, to promote international films, definitely.
Yeah, and intercultural understanding. That bit is just really key, and what I really love at this point.
Right. And real briefly, you mentioned Al Milgram. For those who don't know who he was, could you touch on that real briefly?
Yeah, Al Milgram founded the Film Society back in 1962. He was an educator at the University of Minnesota and basically brought international cinema to the Twin Cities, in large part, like I won't say a one-man band, but he was kind of a one-man band self-promoter and for international film, and he brought, back in the 60s and 70s when French New Wave was blowing up and all this international cinema was traveling to like the coasts. He made sure that the artists and the films came to the Twin Cities and built a really dedicated, art-loving, cinema-loving audience. He's kind of made his mark on the Twin Cities for that.
Right. And now, when it comes to the festival itself now, you're starting Thursday, 13th through the 27th, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're kicking it all off on Thursday with, Bill Polad, local filmmaker, producer, director, his latest film called Dreamin' Wild, which is a really fantastic story about being an artist and not getting your due as the young person when you were creating that art, and then that art being discovered while you're later in life and what that means to your career and to the world around you. It's a really fantastic film about the Emerson brothers, who are a couple of brothers in the 70s in rural Portland, or in rural Oregon, who recorded this fantastic soul-filled album. And then it kind of didn't go anywhere besides, their family and friends, and was rediscovered late, 30 years later. And an article was written about this like really great album that was lost. And then they got all of this attention. And so this is a dramatic sort of telling of that story. And it's a lot of fun. Great music.
Wow. I bet.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just looking through. It's like Dreamin' Wild, right?
Dreamin' Wild. Yeah.
Zoe
Casey
Deschanel.
Affleck stars as the lead. And Zoe Deschanel is also in it. It's got a great cast. Beau Bridges.
Oh wow.
And then after that, we'll have a party right around the corner from the main cinema at Machine Shop. And yeah, it's a really great sort of refurbished old space. And then we'll run the film festival for 2 weeks, where we are showing 125 feature length projects.
Wow.
And another 70 short films. So it's kind of just it's the state fair of films.
Yes. You guys probably show the most films out of all the festivals locally over roughly 2 weeks there. So.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks this year, and then we're in person at the main cinema on the river in Minneapolis, and then we have a couple of other venues. We've got the Capri Theater in North Minneapolis on the opening weekend, and then also a few screenings at Landmark Center in St. Paul.
Oh, cool.
And then for over 20 years now, actually, we brought selections from the festival to a venue in Rochester, Minnesota. So we'll have some screenings down there as well. So kind of branching out a little bit. And there's going to be, we have, I think, around 85 guests attending the festival, local and international, and from across the US. So that's exciting for us to welcome all those folks and have them interact with the audiences. Yeah, it's great.
Talk about putting Minnesota on the map right there. Let's get everybody here and experience it, and part of the conversation. I love that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to just create the opportunity for audiences to talk to the makers. That's a hallmark of the festival, in any festival really, and we're proud to be able to do that a little bit too.
Can you touch on some of the details of these, like events, panels, or just the schedule in general, like what's playing when, sort of the highlights?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm excited about a lot of the movies. Let's say I haven't seen it, so I'm on the program.
Just list them off. Just
yeah. I know. Well, honestly, what I'd like to say is just there's three approaches that I think are worth trying. Number one, if you have free time, just see what's playing and give it a shot. Like we like to think of our festival as one of discovery. There's a lot of brand new talent that plays at the festival. Over 40 of the feature-length films are by first-time directors. So we like to be sort of a place where you can discover not only something interesting for yourself, but also discover brand new talent. So find an opening in your schedule or 3 and just go take a chance if you're not familiar with the movies. Or go to a movie where there's a visiting guest that's indicated maybe on the film's page or something like that on the website. Because those are always very meaningful screenings. You learn more in depth about the film, and there's just magic can happen in some of those conversations. And a lot of there's quite a few screenings where we'll have sort of in-depth panels that follow the screenings as well. There's a really great documentary called A Still Small Voice about Well, it's about a chaplain in training during COVID at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York, and it's about the chaplains in this training program essentially. But it's a really it's a quiet film that you can really feel the emotional intelligence of these folks who are in such challenging situations, in hospital situations. And following that film, we're going to have a panel discussion with numerous chaplains in our region to talk about that experience and expand on the themes in the film. Wow. So that's the kind of thing that we're trying to do. And yeah, a lot of really great Minnesota made films as well. There's a new film by Don Mickelson called Minnesota Mean that profiles the Minnesota roller derby. So it's a lot of fun, and a lot of the derby athletes are going to be there. And then another great Minnesota film that I'm excited for people to experience is called 40 Below, the toughest race in the world. And it's about folks who go and compete in the Arrowhead 135, which is in the Arrowhead of Minnesota during the coldest part of the year, when it is in fact 40 below. And it's just about kind of the wild, intense people who go do that and the reasons for doing it. And because it's such an extreme race, there's like very eccentric stories that are coming out of it. And it's a lot of fun, and we're really excited to be showing it at the festival.
I'd be curious what the attrition rate is on that race, but
yeah, they deliver those stats, and it's heartbreaking and funny at the same time.
That's interesting. Yeah. Oh,
yeah, it's a lot of that. Yeah. And we'll have parties throughout the festival. Opening night, of course, I mentioned, and then we're doing a mid-fest party at Surly Brewing on Saturday the 22nd, which is a lot of fun. I think the first 100 or 150 so people get a free beer at that. So why not, go to a movie and head on over and talk about it at the Surly party. And yeah, just a lot of opportunities to network with other film festival goers, as well as the visiting filmmakers and local filmmakers will be in attendance.
Right.
So there's one thing on the website that I'm curious about. Can you speak to, or maybe you can't because it's a secret, the secret screening? Tell us more, at least what you can tell us.
What can I tell you?
Yeah.
Without just reading the description.
Right. Yeah.
It's something new that we're trying this year. Oftentimes there are films in the festival, or there are films on the festival circuit that we invite, and for various reasons aren't able to participate outright. And we found one that we absolutely loved. I guess I'll drop one hint that may not be. Oh, I hope I'm not giving too much away, but it premiered at a top tier film festival in January. Let's say that. It's a film that I think people are really going to appreciate, especially lovers of cinema. So it's a secret film on Thursday the 20th in the late evening. We hope folks come out, give it a shot. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I should also mention that there's an old bar right next to the movie theater called Prochna that hasn't been open because of COVID and things like that. Right. We're gonna open it back up during the festival so people can come and grab a wine or a beer or a cocktail and some food and hang out and talk about the movies. Just create that sort of sense of festival atmosphere that we love.
Right. Good.
That'll be really fun.
And what was it like, just real quick, with the theater and the festival and film site? Like, how's that going?
Yeah, no, it's going well. It's been a really great year to just try some new things. We are very we want to be and are the neighborhood movie theater, so we're trying to present movies that span a wide variety of tastes, from the Hollywood movies that are coming out to the international pictures that we're known for, and introducing maybe some of the folks that go to the Hollywood movies primarily to some of these other films as well, branching out, taking chances. And it's been fun to just try a lot of new things. We've got this big sandbox now to play in, and it's just great to try new programs and bring in new audiences.
Great.
So there might be people who, I mean, there are certainly people who can maybe come and see only one movie, or maybe they're like, you know what, I'm going to go every day. I'm going to try and fit 2 movies in a day. I'm going to see as much as I can.
Love those people.
And for those people, for those lucky people, is there a way, to maybe, rather than just buying a ticket per time that you're going, like, can they get like a pack or like something like that where they're able to just kind of hit a higher number of movies?
Yeah, totally. For like the ultimate cinephile out there, there's like our all access pass, and that gets you into everything. And it has a little bit higher price tag. Mm-hmm. So it's more of a staycation kind of opportunity. You got to have some free time to make it worth it. For those that want to see a bunch of movies by themselves or bring a friend, we do have these packs, these 6-packs. And it's basically 5 movies for the price of 6, but you can use them. You can use all 6 of the 6-pack on one movie. So you can bring 5 of your friends, or you can use all 6 on 6 different movies. So they're pretty versatile in that way. And it's a good way to kind of hit the festival at a discount. I should also mention that the Film Society is a member-based organization, and it is our member support that is like the lifeblood of, our keeping our operations flowing through their donations and support. And members of the Film Society get a pretty good discount on the tickets as well. They get a third off all festival tickets. So if that's something folks are interested in supporting, that's another avenue to get tickets at a discounted rate.
Absolutely. Yeah. Is there a special place they should go to, like, sign up to be a member, or just straight the website, same website?
Yeah, go to the website, mspfilm.org, or you could go to mspiff.org, and you'll find all of that information on there. There's some tools on there. I recommend downloading the block schedule, I think we call it. And that's just an easy way to look at what's playing where, because it's kind of hard to just see the list of films and find out what you can even dive into. It's fun to just peruse and see what's out there, but get that schedule and make a plan. I want to mention one of their film, because it's so fun, and I really hope folks have an opportunity to see it. It's called Medusa Deluxe, and the plot is pretty simple. It's a hairstyling competition and a murder mystery in one. And the thing that's really pretty exceptional is that it's a one-take film. It's a feature-length 90-minute film, but it takes place in one uncut shot. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a wild kind of ride. So I hope people check that one out.
Interesting.
Yeah, that sounds really intriguing. And that may even be the answer to this next question, but just in case. So, we kind of talked about like those really exciting opportunities to, people can go and see almost every movie that's out there. But if someone is kind of on the opposite end, and maybe they only have time or opportunity to go and see one film out of the entire festival, I'm sure that it's very difficult to say. But do you have one where you're like, you know what, this might be the most impactful, or this might be just the most entertaining, and you don't have to call it whatever you think it is, because I mean every movie is. But like, is there one where you'd be like,
I gotta choose my babies?
Yeah.
Or which ones? Which ones are?
Yeah.
In a kind of
depending on
there's kind of something. There's kind of something for everyone, and I'm not dodging your question because I will answer it. But like, if you go to the website and you click on the feature films tab, you can then sort everything by tags. So it's kind of like genre tags, and that allows you to like decide, I want to see a comedy, so you can see all the comedies or documentaries. But a film that really has stuck with me all these years is, all these months since I've seen it, was a documentary I saw at Sundance called 20 Days in Mariupol. And it is by an AP journalist, photojournalist who was on the ground there in Mariupol when the Russians invaded.
Wow.
And he's stuck there with the citizens of Mariupol, and he and his team document those first 20 days and try to get those images out to the world. And it is it's devastating. It is one of the hardest things that I've seen perhaps ever, and because it's images of war, so it's tough, right. But also very important, to people to bear witness, to what people just like us are going through, on in these conflicts. So, there's that kind of like super hard hitting film, and then there's stuff much lighter and but equally as sort of impactful. I'm really a fan of the work that my colleague Deb Girdwood is doing with the Next Wave Family Features program. There's a lot of really nice films for youth in the ages of like 9 to 15, but really they're like intergenerational stories that will work for anyone. So that's kind of like if there's any of folks out there with kids, there's some good films to bring out to the festival as well. And we schedule those kind of on the weekends when people maybe have more time.
Awesome. That makes sense. All right. Well, we know that we're running out of time. Jesse, first, thank you so much for, again, hopping on and letting us just bombard you with questions really quick. This is really great. We're very excited for the festival. I hope that everyone is able to get out, at least see one movie, but definitely see as many as you can. Go to the website, sign up to be a member, donate, support, all the things. And we will hopefully, Jesse, see you there. So
yeah, can't wait. We'll see you at the movies.
Yeah. In the meantime, thanks for listening. This has been Film in Minnesota.